I'll also do that every week. I'll kind of make an agenda that this is what I need to cover every week in a program. Now, I've already given you the PowerPoint slides from the publisher. They're already on Blackboard if you haven't noticed it. So I have posted the first 7 chapters on Blackboard. Highly recommended that you read a chapter before you come to class. It will just help you understand it better. So if I'm at chapter 2 today, for example, right? We covered chapter 1 last week. So I'm going through chapter 2, but I'm not going to, look through these slides when if I need it to show you something, but I'm not going to talk the slides to you. I'm sure you can do it. Please do it. But what I'll do is I'll cover the matter in that chapter using an example in class. So we will code. And as I code, I'll explain so that you can then relate. So reading the chapter, which doesn't take a lot of time, believe me, it doesn't. An hour, maximum, I'm saying maximum. Maybe it won't even make sense to you, but that's okay. At least read it. So when I talk, then maybe it starts making sense to you. Or vice versa. After class, read it. Entirely up to you guys. The more you put in, the more you will get out of it, right? And you want to know this language well because it's your foundation course, okay? So today we'll code our first Java program. We will learn to print messages on the screen. So basically a program does 3 jobs. Takes input from the user, processes that input, and shows information or output to the user. So information is useful processing of the input. So we will learn how to print messages on the terminal. We'll do 3 kind of methods today: print, ln for line, and printf for formatted print. So you can make your output as pretty as you like, give it exactly how many spaces you want, and so on and so forth. But then that's not the end of the life or the end of a program. A program does not only output things, it also takes input. So we will also learn how to take input from the user. Okay, so we will do that. Definitely, once a program is ready, we need to compile it to convert it into byte code, not machine code yet, to byte code. And this byte code should be error-free. So there should be no compilation errors after you compile a program. If there are, you'll have to go back, again, make the changes or rectify those errors, come back, compile again, go, and this process till your program is perfect and it says no compilation errors, you're good to now go to the next step, which is basically executing or running your code. Because now you want to see, this is what I did in my program, does it work, right? Now, runtime can also create problems. So you can have errors when you run your program. And there are 2 kinds of errors: fatal, dead. So something wrong and the program will stop abnormally. We say dead. The program, something definitely you've done wrong in it. And 2, the program runs, but your answer is wrong. So again, there are some logical errors. So compilation errors occur because there was something wrong in the syntax of the language. You didn't write something correctly. Logical errors or runtime errors occur because the logic is wrong, right? So we have to kind of look at both. So compilation free doesn't mean, I'm done, my job is done. No. Then you should run the code to see what are my answers. Are the answers what I expected them to be? Yes, good. Job done. No, logic is wrong. I have to go back and revise my logic. So we will learn to compile a program and we'll learn to run a program. Now for today at least, so next week, please see that you have BlueJ installed. Remember, I was telling that BlueJ is a very simple program to start with and will be in week 4. So it will only give me 4, 5, and 6, 3 weeks for BlueJ. But for today, you can use Notepad++ if you like. You can use TextPad if you like. But I want you to write the program with no help from the IDE, right? Remember, IDE, Integrated Development Environment, which is where the world is today. Who wants to open up TextPad or Notepad and write everything on your own? But you're in kindergarten. So you're learning your letters, right? So A, B, C, you don't have no clue. So you don't know what to do. You just have to write everything as if you're writing it on paper from scratch. So maybe this week, maybe next week, couple of weeks, I'll stick with TextPad, Notepad++, whatever you like, whatever editor you like, not Word, nothing that has any formatting in it, just simple, plain text editor, okay? So open up whatever is your favorite, open up your editor, and we will write our first Java program today. As I write it, I'll explain things to you, and then one by one step, we'll keep compiling it and running it, compiling it and running it. I'm not sure if TextPad is free, but Notepad++ definitely is free. Even Notepad will do, guys. I just need a simple editor, right? Anything that you just write your code in. Word is not recommended at all because internally Word has so many formatting going on in the back end that it has some control characters that you cannot see but may come in your program, and then you will have compilation errors. Yesterday a student was using something else. I can't even remember the program he was using. I can't remember, and it wouldn't run on his laptop. And there was nothing wrong I could see. So I ran it with TextPad and it was perfectly fine. So keep in mind that all I need you to do is use any simple editor that you have on your laptop, right? I just want you to write code with no help from anybody, just as if you were writing it on a piece of paper. Okay, so in the first few couple of weeks, I will ask you things that you have to think about yourself. You don't have the IDE to help you. As soon as you start using an IDE, you'll say, "Oh, you made a fool of us, telling us to write all this when everything was available." But that's okay. You're learning. Okay, so I'm going to open my editor. Everybody has something, some kind of software on their laptop which we can use. Are we okay with it? Good. Okay, so open whatever you like. I just use TextPad because it's the easiest. There's not much to do in it. You know what I mean? Like there is not much to learn or whatever. So I'll stick with TextPad. So we are going to write our first Java program today. The first thing that you must learn as a good programmer, always comment your code. Put comments in your code so that if you look at your program 1 year from now, you know what you did. Or if I look at your program and I can't make head or tail out of it, at least your comments tell me what you are doing. And in the real world, when you work with your peers in your environment, you're working on a project, you're not going to telephone him or text him, oh, this is what I'm doing. No, code it, put your comments there, and then the other person can, or the other programmer can kind of understand from what's going on, right? So it's called commenting your code. Now in Java, there are three kinds of commenting. We can do block comments, write comments in different lines. One, we can put a comment only on a line. It is called a line comment. And most important of all is the Java doc comments, which you learn very little in the first semester because, as I said, that's more of a professional kind of doing it. But what it creates is very important. It creates a manual for anybody who would like to use your class. So we'll talk about class again when I work with it today. But how do I code a Java program? So let's start, right? Okay, so I'm going to comment my code and I'm going to use block commenting to begin with. So block commenting is done using slash and a star and a star and a slash. So it begins with a slash and a star and it ends with a slash, star and a slash, okay? What I would like you to do in every program you submit to me is your name at the head, the date, oops, and don't make grammatical mistakes, though the compiler doesn't even bother to check comments. It's for you and me, so we should understand it, right? Today's date, and there it is. My name spelling is wrong. And it is September 18 today. You can write it whatever way you want. And the purpose of the program. What is the code doing? What are you trying to do in this program? So for today, all I'm trying to do in my program is basically, as I said in my agenda, we'll take some input from the user, we'll print some messages on the screen, display some messages, and so on, okay? You can use the word print if you like, and if you just want to keep it kind of normal English, you can just say display. So that's called block commenting. See how I just kind of wrote my comments in more than one line? So all these are assumed to be comments, completely ignored by the compiler. Have nothing to do with the syntax of the language or the logic of the language, but are informative. So now save your program before you do anything. So save it. Oh, wait, no, not yet. No, we'll save it when it comes. Okay, now how do you write your program in Java? Every Java program needs a class definition. So you go public. Public means the normal English word public. Oh, anybody can use this class. The reserved word class, right? And then the name of your class. And names are very important. Though names are not important in math, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, M, N, O, everything works. In the programming world, names are important. So don't call it program 1, or don't call it, will give you no clue. Maybe call it something like greetings, because I'll start putting something like welcome to whatever, or something, anything that makes sense to you, right? Now, the name of a program, also called identifier in programming jargon, has to follow some conventions and rules. The rules are: the name can consist of letters A to Z, digits 0 to 9, the underscore, character, and the dollar sign. Nothing else. Like your names, right? What are your names rules? Your names can have letters, can have the apostrophe, can have the space. Nothing else. You don't put digits in your name, right? You can't. You don't. So similarly, all identifiers follow these rules. You can use letters, uppercase, lowercase, and they're different. Case is important. Java is a case sensitive language. So Anju with the capital A is different from Anju with the small a. Okay, they're two different things. So you can use letters, uppercase and lowercase. You can use the digits 0 to 9. You can use the underscore if you like, and you can use the dollar sign. Nothing else is allowed in the name of an identifier. And the name of a class is an identifier. It identifies your class. So try to give a good name. These are rules. You have to follow them. And then there are conventions. Now, the convention in naming a class in Java is that you start it with a capital letter, right? So, for example, I wanted to say greetings. That's all. So, and if it was a longer name, something like greetings from Anju, then notice how every word is starting with a capital letter so that you can read it. It's easy to read. So why was this convention followed? If I had written it in all lowercase or all uppercase, it would be very difficult to kind of read the name. But now it's kind of easy. Greetings from Anju. So keep your class names short, sweet, but informative, right? So don't call it program 1 week 3 or whatever. So that's too long, and it's not only greeting from Anju, and from Anju is not something that makes sense to everybody. So I'll leave it at this. And this way of naming your identifier, your class name, is called Pascal naming convention. The Pascal naming convention, every word is capitalized with the first letter. It's called Pascal naming convention, right? Then you put the curly brackets for the begin, and you would put the closing brackets for closing the class. That's how a program in Java looks. It should have at least one class definition in it, right? So we'll only work with one to begin with. It has to have public class. If it is private, then of course it's only available for whoever is writing it, and the environment is, the scope is limited. So for now, we will learn public so that we can use it everywhere. So in the library, there are public classes. So you can go, oh, can I take that book? So some books are reserved. You can only go in the library and read them. Those are private. And some books you can, take home. And those are public books. So classes in Java can be private or public. Very few private, but yes, it is available. So public says, oh, I'm available. Anybody can take me out of the library and use it. I'm a good programmer. I'm writing a class called greetings. I'm sure next generation will need it. So here, public, you can use it. So public class, name of the class, the name of the class is following Pascal naming convention. And here is a line comment. Notice how I'm putting it on a line. So I'm doing this so that you can remember, oh, that's how I name my class. So you can put line comments after your code, or you can just kind of put it anywhere, but you can only have one line comment in a line. Therefore, they're called line comments. And notice how they begin. They begin with 2 slashes. So they don't have an end, because end is go to a new line. So as soon as you leave that line, the comment has ended. You can continue it into the second or the third line. So block commenting and line commenting. Now save this code, right? So that's the structure of your Java program. Now, if you wanted, I would, because we are beginners, we'll say end of class definition. But I don't forget, curly brackets, make it a rule. As soon as you put an opening bracket, put a closing bracket straight away. so that you don't forget, because many errors in the beginning at least are made by mismatched ones. And this is the begin of your class. I'll repeat, what is a class? A class is basically how I look and what can I do put together. So data and functionality put together into a definition, open, begin, end, and given a name. It's just a definition. So car, it's a class. So it has a blueprint. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create a class called greetings. And then if you need to work with it, you'll have to create objects of it. And then that objects are physical. So a real car is an object, and the blueprint of a car is a definition. So in Java programming, we always define a class. We give it a good, meaningful name, and we follow rules for sure, but we also follow conventions. And you have to follow conventions, otherwise you're going to lose marks in my assignments at least. Because if you don't, then we don't understand each other. Okay, you go to the library and you don't know the conventions, you don't know that books starting from whether the books are arranged by author name or by titles, then you're lost, you don't know. So the same thing. So if you know the conventions, then you know where to look for things. Okay, now save this program. And the rule is, when you save it, put it wherever you can find it again for sure, because don't come and ask me. Sometimes students will say, where is my program? How would I know? But sure, so what I'm going to do is for myself, it's not for you. You can do it whatever you like, so that I can remember. I have created a Tuesday section. And now, very important, the name of the program. What should you save it as? You have to save it in the same name as the name of the public class that you created. So what did you create the class? You called it greetings with a capital G. So please save it as greetings.java. That's a rule. So the name of the file in which this code must be saved should be the same as the name of the public class in your code. So you called your class greetings. I have to save it as greetings.java. Greetings, G is capital, greetings. So whatever you've called your class, go the name of the class .java. It's a must. So the name of the class must match the name of the file. Case wise, everything, spelling, case, everything. Right now it is saved. And notice my text pad is a little smart because I don't know if you have done it. I've kind of integrated it with Java. It comes, you'll see if you go to its preferences, it will have Java in it. So it kind of recognizes Java a little. So comments have gone green. Reserved words like public or class have gone blue. And anything that the user is giving, like the name of the class, is in black. Right? This is called color coding. It helps us to kind of read code clearly. So I have set up my text pad with Java. It's not necessary, but it helps me. It's not necessary at all, but it kind of helps me to say, oh, I'm doing the right stuff. So if I by chance forget this, or kind of see everything is green now, that means I didn't close my comments properly. So it helps me. It's okay if you don't have it. That's perfectly fine. You're using an editor just so that we can type, right? So if you don't make syntax errors, you're okay. But at least this helps me to say, oh, okay, I'm good. So as I said, comments in green. Reserved words. You can't use public or class for anything else. You can't call your class class. You can't call your class public. They're reserved. Okay, so they're special reserved words. Those have gone blue, and anything that the user provides, an identifier name, a variable name, and so on, is black. And your curly brackets and all these will be black. Okay, so my first class is ready. Of course, does nothing, but the class is ready. I have a skeleton at least, right? So you've made a template. So now, step number 2. Step number 2 says that a Java program has to have, compulsory, has to have a method called main, right? Every Java program. What are these methods? What can I do? Those functionalities, they have names. So function 1 has a name, function 2 has a name, it does this, it does this, it does this. So you can break a car, not that break, the brake. You can stop a car, you can start a car, you can turn right, turn left. All these are methods. Okay, all these are functionalities. So there has to be, it's compulsory, there has to be a method called main in a Java program. Because when I run a program, it automatically will go to the main method, will start its execution from the beginning of main, and will end where the main ends. So it knows what to do. Okay, now how do I define the main method in a class? Okay, so let's define the main method. Now, it would be nice if you could indent your code. Indentation helps in readability, has nothing to do. You can use tabs, you can use spaces, you can leave lines, or all these are called white space characters. They are white. White means give you blanks, right? These are called white space characters, but they help in readability. You'll say, who reads programs? We all read programs. Programmers are reading programs all the day, right? At a point in your life, you will come where you can read a program and say, there is the mistake. You don't have to compile it to even see the mistake. So we read programs, we read code all the time. Programmers do. Though, of course, there are better ways now. You have debuggers and everything, but you should know how to read code. So indentation, kind of giving it extra spaces, blanks, tabs, kind of makes it easy to read code very quickly, and especially for small programs that we will be writing. Okay, now how do I define my main method? The signatures of the main method are, it has to be a public method. Otherwise, nobody can use it, right? Forget about what it means for now. What does static mean? We'll talk about it maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe after the reading week. But these are its signatures. Signatures means the signature, the English word signature. This is how you're recognized, okay? The main method returns nothing to you. So the return type is void. You say, what do you mean by return? Let's say, I say, please add 2 and 3 for me. So you will answer back. You'll say 5. So that is the return type, integer, right? So main does not return anything, and we say it does not return anything is said by that reserved keyword void. It doesn't return anything to the user, right? It does return a code to the operating system, I'm done or finished or whatever, successful, unsuccessful, but nothing to the user. So void. Then comes the name of the method, which is main. Now, to name methods, you have to follow a different convention. The rules remain the same, letters, digits, underscore, dollar. But the convention is that you start the first letter with a small lowercase, and then every word is capitalized. So if it was called main program, though it is not, this is how I would do it. I would call it main program. This convention is called camel case naming convention. Hump of a camel, right? It's called camel case naming convention. So the program, the method has to be called main. You can't change it. So I started column. So a class name follows Pascal naming convention. A method name follows camel case naming convention, right? So the camel case is simply says, look, there are still words. You will still kind of start every other word, leaving the first word with a capital letter. The first word starts with a lowercase capital letter. Okay, and then come round brackets. What are these round brackets? Okay, let me again give you an example. Suppose I say add 2 numbers. What will be your question back to me? I say add 2 numbers. Which 2 numbers, right? So parameters, you need something from me. Only then can you do your job. So main says, I need something from you, only then can I do my job. So what does it need to run or to execute? Are any number of strings, if you like, 0 or any. So it is expecting strings from you. I'll tell you in a minute what I'm doing here, okay? Just complete it. Okay, so now the main method is expecting this, what you see in the red brackets is called a parameter list. It could be empty. You don't need anything from me. I'm asking you a question, what's your name? You'll just answer me. You don't need any other information. You'll not say, oh, what's your name? You tell me first kind of stuff, right? So it may need nothing. To do a function, it may require no input from the user, right? No parameters at all from the user. Then this parameter list will be empty, but you still have to put those brackets. Parameters 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. What is this saying? Which is a little odd because I don't know. I mean, you don't even know what it is saying. But what it is saying is that the main method can take any number. When you see these square brackets stands for collection. And because it is empty, it says, oh, any number. Okay. So it is expecting that you can give any number of string parameters. They should all be strings. So whatever you give doesn't matter. Even if you give the number 3, it is assumed to be string. So if I want, I could call the main method by giving it Anju, 1 parameter, comma, 2nd parameter, comma, the name of my, the address of my office location, comma, maybe my phone number, Fine. And the list can go on and on and on. Any number of parameters are allowed. Or if I don't want to, I may not give any parameters at all. Main says, oh, I can work without your help, but if you want to do something, give me the parameters. And all parameters are string. What is string? Text. Right? Text. Anything in double quotes is text. Even if it is a number, it is text. Now, what is this string? The string, notice the capital S. The string is a class that has already been defined in the Java library. So they followed conventions and you know it's a class. And what does it do? It has, of course, a string is basically, it has defined what is a string. It says, oh, collection of characters. Any characters collection is a string. And what can you do with the string? You say, what do we do with the string? You can do many things with the string if you think about it. You can find the length of a string. Length of my name, for example, right? You can say, oh, split up. Find me what does it start with? A. What does it end with? A, by chance, right? How many A's does it have in it? So you can do a few things with the string, which maybe you haven't even thought of ever. So string, somebody has already defined a class called string in the Java library, and you're just using the class here to say that ARGS, you would have called it Anju, stands for arguments. The arguments, so this is a name, again, a name. An identifier name. You're saying the parameters are called ARGS and they're all of type string. And how many? We don't know. So if you wanted how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. And by default, they are called ARGS 0. ARGS 1. Look at my brackets. ARGS 2. I'm using the same square brackets that collection is using. And ARGS 3. Now, in our real world, we always start counting with 1, but in the computer world, we start counting with 0. Don't ask me why, but that's how it goes. Okay. So why ARGS? Because I called it ARGS. If you had called it hello, then it would be hello 0, hello 1, hello 2, hello 3. Right. So the name of the parameters are ARGS 0, ARGS 1, ARGS 2, ARGS 3, and so on and so forth. So that's the name of your parameters. Again, what are parameters following? Camel case name convention. Starts with a small a, and then if it was more, you could have called it arguments if you like, but that's the common thing you will see that we just call it ARGS. You could call it arguments if you like. You could call it arguments to main if you like, whatever makes sense to you. But since it's just a line and it's kind of used all over the world in every Java program, everybody just says ARGS, right? But you can call it whatever you like. So again, methods. So I'll put this comment here so that you can remember. Method names. So I'll kind of. And parameters. They're called parameters. Or it could be 1 or more or 0. It's called camel case naming convention. You will start writing your own methods. Main, you have to write it, but you'll start writing your own methods very quickly, maybe in the next class. So you should know how to name them. So please pay attention again. Public, because this is a method that should be publicly available. Why? Because if you want to run it, it has to be available. Leave out static for now. You just put it there. You have to put it there. We'll talk about it maybe in a couple of weeks. Void returns nothing. Right? So every method will have a return type. If it is returning an int, we'll put an int. If it is returning a float, we'll put a float. If it is returning Boolean, true, false, we'll put a Boolean. We'll learn about all that. But if it returns nothing, void. Then comes the name of the method. This method is specifically called main. You cannot change it because every Java program must have a main method. And then the parameter list in round brackets, right? And this parameter list could be empty, or it could have any number of parameters, and each parameter has a name. Okay, and in main, since you can have unlimited parameters and all of them are of type strings, I went short. Instead of saying ARGS, comma, ARGS2, and so on, because I don't know how many, I said they are all strings, and I put an empty square bracket which stands for collection, group of unlimited size. Okay, just if you want to know, it's called an array. A-R-R-A-Y. This collection is called an array. Okay, but it's a collection. So all you're saying is, oh, any number of arguments can be passed to me. We'll learn how to do that. Those are the signatures of main. That's how it is recognized. And then come the beginning of the main. Now, some programmers put the beginning right here, the curly brackets, and some put it on a different line. Doesn't matter. You follow your style. So the method, notice that's the beginning and that's the end of main. And as soon as you put an opening bracket, put a closing bracket so that you don't make mistakes. And put a comment with it, because as programs become bigger in size and you have brackets all over the place, you will soon be lost. So it's always a good idea, start opening, stop closing, and kind of put a comment, oh, this is the closing of the main method. My main method is ready. It is empty, but it is ready. That's the structure of a Java program. This Java program can be executed, can be run, though it won't do anything. Why? Because main is empty, but it can be run. You can execute it. Now let's try to put something inside the main method. And notice how I kind of put a little extra lines, empty lines, and indent my code just to make it easier to read. And this is just a style, and everybody just follows it in the programming world. Okay, let's print something on the screen, right? That's our first job to learn. How do I, and when I say screen, that's your standard output. So you have a standard input default, your keyboard is your standard input default. If you don't say anything, you say, I'm going to take my input from the keyboard. You could be taking it from a file. You put something in a file. When I say file, it could be a text file, right? All output comes on your, by default, on your standard output device, which is your screen. And all the errors which will come, of course, we are learning how to write things, we may see errors, will also come on the standard output device, which is your screen. Okay? So these are your standard input and output devices. You can change them. You can take input from a file, you can take input from a database, you can put output on your screen, you can put output in a file, you can put output in a database. It's all over the place. You're not limited only to the keyboard and to the screen. But that's what we'll do for now. How do I print messages on the screen? Now, this is a very common thing. So I'm sure somebody has already written a class for us and has put it in the library for us, and we'll use it, right? Printing messages on the screen is such a common thing, and taking input from the user is such a common thing that somebody already has decided, oh, this will be needed in future. Classes have been created, put in the library. All you do is you go to the library and say, give me an object so that I can work with that object. So now give me a kind of a physical thing, and I'll say, oh, print this message for me, print this message for me. So I need a physical object of that class that has already been created for me. For your information, that class is called system, right? Kind of an odd name, but whatever. We have to respect as an it, right? Nice tune. Thank you. That makes me double check. Okay, yeah. So all your phones off, please. You can keep your phones with you, of course, but so that we don't disturb the class. And of course, you can sometimes look at it because you get tired listening to me. Okay, so the class is called system. And there is I'm kind of calling it in a layman language, but there is actually a field inside it. It's a kind of we call it an object. So system.out is the object that I will use to print messages on the screen. So system.out is an object that has already been predefined in the library, and all I'm asking is system.out, can you do a job? So you can kind of think of it like a chalk, right? What can I do? I have this object, I can put something on the blackboard. So that's object. I've asked for the object. This object is called system.out chalk, right? So that object is called system.out. Now, before I go further, there are so many classes in the Java library that you'll be overwhelmed with it. You won't even know all of them. I don't know. Very truthful. I knew it ages back when Java started because it was a small library, but it is growing in size because of functionality improving in Java, and there's so many classes. Now, to make things manageable, because that's what we do in our daily life also, what the programmers did was they started taking classes and kind of made packages out of it. Because, oh, all input output will go into one package. All that relates common utilities will go into another one. Anything relating with databases will go in another package. So they kind of created packages, right? And these packages have names. These packages have names. So the common classes that we use, like system, is in a package called java.lang. They call the package java.lang. That means they're assuming string also belongs to java.lang because they're common classes that you use all the time, right? So these classes are in a package called java.lang. And by default, we have the right to use them. A Java program just uses them without even asking for permission. But if I wanted to ask for permission to use a package, this is what I would do. You would import packages if required. Now, so if I wanted to import, and what is import? Just asking permission, oh, I'll be using this package. Because if you don't tell the package to be used, it doesn't know where to look for it. Okay, so by default, a package called java.lang, you don't have to import it. This is already imported for you. So you could comment out this line. So java.lang is a package, consists of many classes. And if you're interested in some or all classes, you have to say which classes am I interested in. The easiest is to say star, easiest and laziest. All classes in java.lang, please give me access to them. That's what you're saying. And you put a semicolon here. Right? So statements in Java are ended with the semicolon. They're terminated with a semicolon. So this import statement is not required because this is also the default package that can be used. Why am I telling you about it? Because in another 15 minutes, I'll require another package so that will help you. Oh, that's how we write. So let me show you this package, so that you know what I'm talking about. So showing means Googling, and Googling means going to java.documentation, going to its library. So here, look, so see, just so that you know, this help file manual has been created using Java doc comments. That is the third class of important comments in a Java program. So if you did not have this manual, where will you look for information? So when you create classes, the block commenting and the line commenting is for you and me, like programmers. But the Java doc commenting is for the generic users that will use your class. They're not interested in your code. They're interested in the functionality of your class. So I'm using the string class. Somebody must have written it. But documentation comes with it. I know what I can do with it. So on the top half here, you will see that the packages are mentioned. And there are so many. And here is the java.lang I'm talking about. And in java.lang, ignore interfaces for now, but there are some classes. Here is a set of classes. And of this class, I'm using the system class right now. There it is. There is a string class, right? And if you click on the string class on the right, it will kind of say, oh, this is what a string is. And these are the constructors, means how do you create a string? And these are the methods. These are what you can do with the string. You can concatenate two strings. You can find its length and so on. Right? So here, notice. So look at where I'm only here. And all these, if you want to say, oh, what does it do? What does this method called string do in the string class? Or what does this equals ignore case do? Click on it and it will tell you what does this method do. So it gives you the functionality of the method. Right? So for the system class, the system.out, this is the system class. The class is called system. Now just kind of for a minute, let's look at what this says. So notice public final class system. Exactly the same line that I wrote, but I didn't have final. Final means nobody can change this class. That's what final means. So it has been written by somebody. It is final. You cannot change this class. Your class, somebody can take your code and change it, but this class cannot be changed. So it's in the library, but it's cannot be changed. And then it says extends object. Let's talk it like a layman of what does extends object mean. Now, in the Java library, a class called object with a capital O, see it's a class, capital O. There is a class called object. This is so odd. You were saying object are physical things. Don't ask me. There's a class called object, which is the mother of all classes. I call mother because I'm a girl, right? So it encompasses all the classes. So it sits at the root like an inverted tree. It's right at the top. And it says all classes in Java are my children. So extends means inheritance, children. And a class that you write, greetings, is actually also a child of object by default. So everybody has to have a parent. So who's the parent of all classes in Java? The object class. The hierarchy could be bigger, but here the hierarchy is just system is extending objects. The case could be a class is extending another class that extends another class that extends another class, and at the end it extends object. You'll say, but what is the use of this extension? Like what does it give us? Think about it. Somebody invented the simple calculator, right? The simplest, 4 operations, plus, minus, multiplication, division, simple, that's it. We were very happy with it. We didn't have to do it in our head. So the simple calculator was created by somebody. The definition was done and it was created. Then somebody said, if we can do these 4 simple jobs, let's add maybe square root and square and cube. Let's increase its functionality. So the second calculator, or whatever, let's call it scientific. We know they are scientific. We know they are statistical. So the second calculator said, oh, this basic design has been done. Let me extend it and add more to it, and I make a scientific calculator. So that's what extend means, inherits. It inherits or extends the definition, something that already exists. Why reinvent the wheel? Right? Why reinvent the wheel? So the basic calculator is available. Let's add more functionality to it, and therefore, and make a new class, make a new definition. So that's what extends mean. Make sense? So object gives you some basic functionality like cloning. Cloning means duplicating an object, right? For example. So it gives you some basic functionality, very basic. And then any other class that is adding more to it will add more to it. So therefore, public class system, exactly like we wrote our greetings, final, because our class is not final. And we didn't write extends object, you can write it and it is fine. There's no problem. It's by default. And then it's there available from, of course, JDK 1.0, because we can't work without output. And here are the fields that I was talking about, the standard output stream. So the system.out is an object that allows me, like a chalk, to print messages on the screen. And then there will be methods of this system.out. So if I click on this out, see here, there are methods, system out println, system out error, and so on. And I'll be using them, right? I'll be using them. And by also, since the extension has come from the object, see, here is the out. It tells you what the out does. The standard output stream, this stream is already open. You don't have to do anything about it. It's already open and ready to accept output data, right? They're called streams because like water flows in a stream, data flows. So they're called streams, okay? And it says, okay, there are more. Go and look at all these methods. They're all available in this, with this out, which is okay. But when I was talking about that extension, come on, see how big that class is. At the end, it will tell you, oh, I also took something from the object. That's why it's extending object. Oh God. It says it at the end somewhere where it says classes or methods inherited from. Strange. It doesn't say it's, but maybe, I don't know, it should. String says it, for example. Maybe system doesn't. You will also notice it will also tell you here are all the methods available in string. Plus, it will also tell you that I have I've taken some from the object class. It is not at the end. It's a little in the between after. So I was looking at the wrong thing. Notice how methods inherited from java.land.object. So clone, finalize, get class, notify all, wait. These are methods that are written in the object class and they're automatically also in the string class, also in the system class, in every class. So kind of a template. Oh, this everybody will need it. And then you add more to it. That's what is called inheritance. And that's what extends means. Okay. So I'm going to use the system.out object. And now the name of the method. So system.out is the name of the object. So you can kind of write it whatever you like. I mean, if you're following the same convention, dot the name of the method. That's how you kind of use a method. Whenever you use a method, you will have to say object name dot the name of the method, right? So chalk, write, chalk, fall, chalk, pick up, so you always have to go dot. So I'm going to use the print method. Already written, I don't have to worry about it. So system.out is the name of the object. And I'm using the convention, the naming conventions in my comments also, so that it just kind of becomes a practice. You don't have to, it's just a comment. And then the name of the method. If it is a method like main, it will have some parameters. It's a method. It will have some parameters, right? What does a method do? A method does a job. And if a method does a job, it may require something from whoever is using the method, or it may require nothing. So if I say open the door, force is applied. So that's your parameter, force. And open the door is the method. It is the functionality. That's what you can do with the door. Similarly, you can do things with the chair. Similarly, you can do things with the projector. Similarly, you can do with a phone. So you do things with different things, right? So these are actual things or objects which somebody has defined. So definitely this was created, a definition of the phone, of a cell phone, and it improves with it. It does improve a little with every version, but that's how people will buy new products. Okay. So what am I saying? I'm saying system.out already defined for me as an object that is open to put output on the standard output device, which is the screen. Then I'm saying dot, the name of the method. So the system.out, usually object names don't have a dot, but this object is called system.out and I'm using it. Your own objects may not have dot. So therefore I say name of the object dot name of the method. And now the parameters. What would you like to print on the screen? Hello world, the first program that everybody writes, hello world. So I'll say welcome to Georgian College. And notice how I have put my parameter in quotes. That means print can work with a string. You can give it a string. You can give it numbers also actually. But I've just put a string. I gave it a string. Right? Yes.
Out of curiosity, why not hello world?
Just because I have to write many more messages, and this will work better with messages that continue. So welcome to Georgian College. Java is fun to learn. Computer science department. So it's kind of done. Sure, go with hello world. It's your message. Do whatever you like. Right? And don't forget statement end, semicolon. There. So you've written your first Java program if you are new to Java. And class has been defined, has to have a method called main. Anything in main is executed. And I've written the first print statement in my main, which says it will print this to the screen. Welcome to Georgian College. Let's see if it works. If there are mistakes, we'll come back. If there are no mistakes, we'll break our program to show you that there are mistakes. Save this program. Don't forget to save it. Now let's compile and run it. Now let's see, does it compile? Does it have any compilation errors? Did I use the rules of the language correctly? If not, then I'll have errors. Hopefully not. Maybe yes, who knows? It's just there could be some typo mistakes, right? And we'll make typo mistakes. For example, if I forget the semicolon for whatever reason, it will tell me you forgot your semicolon. So if you make mistakes, it will tell you when you compile your code. And IDEs are helpful that while you are coding, if you're making a mistake, it will, even before compilation, it will kind of give a red squiggly under it or say something or say complete it. And there's auto-complete features. So you become lazy. You don't learn because you're saying, oh, you won't remember it. But if you do it yourself using an editor, you will remember it. The mistakes you make, you will remember them. And therefore, we will shift to an IDE, and that's where the world is. We will shift to IDEs, but in due time. You'll have enough IDEs to work with in your semester 2 and semester 3. So I'm not worried about IDEs, right? So if I forget it, it will tell me. And let's see. So I forgot it. I just forgot it. Or for whatever reason, if you gave a small s here, it will complain because there is not, it doesn't recognize it. It only recognizes a class called system.out. So if you make mistakes, it will tell you, and you have to learn to read error. You have to learn to read those messages so that you can then rectify them. So I'm making this mistake. I have removed my semicolon just to show you. Now, how do I compile this program? So please open up a command window. Right? Open up a command window. And the first thing you do is where you've saved this program, wherever you've saved it, go there and get that address. So it's Tuesday. And I'll copy this address. Right? So wherever you have saved it on your desktops, which I see many of you doing, don't do it. Organize your life. It's not a desktop that everything is available everywhere. Put it in where you should. Okay. So take that address, I'm calling it address because there is where your program is. Take that folder or the path. That's what it's correct name is, take that path and in your command window, change the directory. How many of you know command line working? Have you worked on the command line? Yeah, it used to be there long back. It still is. Some people still prefer to. They don't like IDEs. They don't like things that are ready-made. They still want to do their own jobs. And scripting languages, usually you will work on the command line, right? Now, because we've got all these IDEs, we don't bother to. But here, CD stands for change directory. Do a right click here with your mouse and say paste. So it is simply saying change the directory from wherever you are to this directory. So it's like as if you had opened that window in Windows Explorer. So you are here. That's what I've done on that ID on the command line. I'm here now, right? That's what the CD does. So CD for change directory. And notice it's saying, oh, you are sitting in users, A Chawla, documents, courses, PF1030 Tuesday. That's where you are sitting. That's your current directory, right? So CD is change directory and I've changed it. I have to go to the directory where my program is sitting. So you have to know where you saved your program, right? So this is my program and this is my output window. We'll play the computer. What happens line by line when a program is compiled or run. So let's compile it now. Now, if you have already set your path variable like I did and told you last week, we will run the javac command. Unfortunately, I cannot increase the size of this window or its font size. So it's javac. The command is javac, J-A-V-A-C. Javac is for compilation. It's a command you are giving it. This command is already, javac is the command with which you compile a Java program. You'll say, where is this program? This is sitting in that bin directory that you've added to your path. So javac.exe is a file, exe are executable files. It is sitting in that bin directory of your Java installation directory. Therefore, I made you add that path in your environment. So when it says javac, it says, where do I search? Where do I search for javac? Oh, it's there in that directory. Like you search your room when you go for a class, right? So you have the name and you say, well, I have to go. It's already in the path. So I made you add that path in the path environment variable so that when I give a command javac, it will go and look for it and it will find it. So JAVAC. So your change directory should be or will be different from my change directory. You have to change the directory to your current directory where you have saved your greetings.java. And you'll say, how do I find that out? That's your question, right? Find where you saved it. I saved it here. So I copied it from here. This is where I saved it. So change the directory to your current directory. Don't copy mine. Don't say CD, whatever it is saying on my screen. Change it to your current directory. Once you have changed it to your current directory, you must see that current directory here, which is, I know, oh, I'm at the right place. And now give the javac command. Leave a space. And now give the name of your file. Start with GR because we know it is called greeting. Press the tab key and it will complete it for you. Tab key, if there is nothing else which starts with a GR, then it will complete it for you. But if there is more files by that name, greetings 1, greetings 2, then it says which one. So you kind of give more. So as soon as you know, now it will be able to kind of fill it up, complete it, press the tab key and it will complete it for you. So I am now going to compile the program called greetings.java. How do you compile it? You call javac, do it for me. Somebody has written it for you. It's in the Java's, not the Java API library, but it's in the Java installation library. There it is. It's there. And you've already included it. And do an enter. You don't have a semicolon. So go back and first correct your program. You can't run it. It has a compilation error. I see one error. If you have a semicolon, you will see nothing and you will have your prompt back. You have no errors. But the aim is make errors. Why? Because we are learning. So come back here. I know the problem. I put my semicolon. I say, oh, I should be okay now. I save it. I come back here. Use your arrow keys to get the previous command, the normal arrow key, so that you don't have to type it again. I'm saying now compile it again. No compilation errors. Yes.
I tried to set up Java C, but it doesn't seem to be working.
So that means your path variable has not been set properly, which you have to then ask me during the break. Okay?
Oh.
I'll tell you during the break how to set it up. I
Right.
can't just do it individually right now and waste everybody's time. But I can show. We did it last week. Were you here last week?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so maybe some small mistake, right? So basically, if you cannot do javac, the easiest way to see if everything is okay is just give the javac command. And if it doesn't come up, that means something is wrong. How many of you are facing difficulty with javac? Oh God, so many? Okay, so this is how what we did last week. Go to and find out where you had installed Java. It is here. Go to your C drive. So now please listen, because there's a common problem. I see many people with the problem. Go to your C drive, go to program files directory inside the C drive, on the C drive. There should be another Java directory here. And inside that Java, I have both 10 and 8 installed. So I have 2 versions. Don't worry about it. Go inside JDK 1.81 and then click on the bin. So inside the bin, do you notice there is javac sitting? Javac.exe is sitting. Notice there? If you look at my window. So now I would like you to copy this address, C program files /java /jdk 1.bin /bin. Take this address, do a control C. This is the directory where javac can be found, right? So I need to add this directory to my path variable. How do I do that? So copy this. So have you found it? Has everybody found their Java in program files bin directory? Copy this. Now go to your environment variables. Now since you are on 10, I'm sure if you can find it out, but for us, the simplest way is if you right click on your computer and do a right click and go to properties, it will open up this advanced system settings. So on Java 10, oh, no, sorry, not on Java 10, on your Windows 10. So it's saying, oh, you're going to make some changes to the system. Do you have the right? So I have to give my password to make them. You have to find out how to set the environment variables on Windows 10. I've opened up the environment variable window. So it should be under control panel, maybe, right? So one of you, Windows 10, all of you are using Windows 10. Could you
search just system and then
okay, search system in the system here? Okay, so this is how you do it. So here in the search bar, just go system, like this. And then what will come up when you do that? Oh, there it is. System comes up there, right? Click on it. And then go to advanced system settings. Thank you. It works for me also. But the easy way for me was the properties. Thank you. What's your name?
Ben.
Ben? Okay. So here it is how you do it. Okay, Daniel? So search for system, click on system, go to advanced system settings. And once you go to advanced system settings, you will have this. And now click on the environment variables. From here, it will be a little different now. Look for the variable path here in your system variables and say edit. You're changing it. With me? Everybody with me? Right? So I'm changing the path environment variable. Edit it. And now this window looks different on Windows 10. On Windows 10, you have a bigger window and you have new, I think, on the right-hand side. Click on that new and you will get an empty slot and paste that address that you have from that Java library in that empty slot. Okay? So edit your path variable. After you edit your path variable, you will see a window on Windows 10. Click on that new on the right-hand side. It's new or add, I forget. Add or new on the right-hand side, right? Click on it, you get an empty slot. And now paste that address that you have in that. And then say an OK on it. And then say an OK on this. And then say an OK on this. You have included the path where to find javac on your path variable. Now to test it, just say javac. Just say javac. Don't do anything else for now. If it worked properly, open a new command window, not in the old command window. If you already have a command window open, close it and open it again because you made a change in the environment. Okay. Go javac. And if you see something like this coming up, that means you are on the right path. So to clear the screen, it becomes very dirty very quickly. Do a CLS to clear the screen. CLS to clear the screen for your command window. So please give your javac command. So if you say javac, greetings.java is the program you're compiling, and do an enter, and you have no errors, you should have the prompt back. Now with me? Everybody with me? Now let's run it. To run a Java program, you go Java. The name of the executable program is just Java, not Java R or anything, it's Java. And then again, go greetings. Again, do your tab, but you will see it would give a dot class. Remove the dot class. What is this dot class file? After you compile a Java program, the bytecode that was created has been put into dot class file. So when you say Java, it says, oh, I have to run that class file, but you don't say dot class here. You have to remove that dot class. But it recognizes the Java command, and it says you're going to now run a Java bytecode. And it looked, when you said G and said tab, it looked for greetings because that's the only one in my folder. So if I go back to that folder where I have my greetings, you will notice that after compilation, if it was successful, after compilation, you will have a file called greetings.class sitting there, which you cannot read actually, but it's all jargon. But it's a bytecode. So you can make out some, notice? You can look at some things that are making sense, but then there is many things that are not making sense. This is your bytecode. So the greetings.class gets created after you compile your .java file. And on the command line, you're running that file. You're running that file. How do you run it? You say Java, blank, and just the name of the file. Don't say .class with it. And do an enter. And there, welcome to Georgian College. Print. It has printed. That's what you printed. So whatever you printed is on your screen. How many of you were unsuccessful? 1, 2, 3. Oh God. Okay. Why? Why? What is it saying? Were you able to compile it? No. Did you close the command window and open a new command window? That cannot happen. Okay. So what is your error? You made a mistake in the compilation. See, it exactly looks like mine. System S capital dot out dot print opening brackets, put it in double quotes, closing bracket, semicolon. That's a compilation error. What you're seeing. See if it exactly matches mine. Something has to be wrong. If there is a compilation error, then something is wrong. But the problem is, why can't you learn Java if the problem? Here is the compilation error. Oh, yeah. No, don't put a blank. Don't put a blank. No blank after you print, then the name becomes blank. Okay, who has not been able to run Java still? Okay, let's see. Where are you? Just say Java. Okay, just say Java for now. Just Java. I want to see if it was even installed. Yeah, it is. Okay, so now we see. See or change the now, where did you save your program? Okay, so show me where you save it. Go there. There it is. Okay, so copy that. Click on yellow folder. Okay, take that. I did. Okay, now go back to my folder. Now copy, paste it there. Now give your Java, say Java, and then a blank, and now the name of your program. Start with the capital G, then just press. And you have one. It says there is an error, and it says, oh, something is wrong somewhere. Okay, let's come back to the code. Let me look at your code.
Oh, yeah.
It has to be called greetings or Java. Okay, so it's saying something. Course elements. Not save as the same, not the same. You already saved it as. Did you save it at Never. Does it had that Java icon? So I'm assuming it was.
Yeah, I want to see.
Yes. Now go back to the command window again. Give that command again. Use your arrow
Are you
key.
supposed to set it
Use
as
your
a
upper arrow.
variable or?
Let's combine
I
it.
did that.
There's no compilation errors. Now say Java, run it. And again use that arrow key. And do that. And remove that class. There. That's what you're supposed to do. Right? Where, what's the problem?
It's the document.
No, it's because I had the wrong thing in my head.
Okay, where is your program? So this piece, you just click on there, on that yellow piece. So it's being saved just in documents. I would highly recommend that you create a directory called like 71 and in there create a Java and but now it's just sitting in documents. Okay? But there is where it is. So we know where it is. So just copy that. Okay, so click on this. Click on the no, click on the yellow. Okay, now copy this. Come to your command. The first thing I want to see if Java is so we are now let's to change the identity. So right click and copy, paste your right click, and there it is. Of course. So now you're in the right directory where come back. Do a right click, let's click in new. Right click outside side. Do a new. Let's create a folder.
Perfect. Thank you.
Let's call it Java programs or something so that you can remember. Program. Okay, whatever makes sense.
So what now?
Okay, go and enter. Okay, so we'll kind of take that program, read it and move it to Java. So it's there now. Let's double check. So yeah, double click on it. Okay, now take that, click on that yellow, copy that address, Control C. Then go back to your command window. Guys, help each other, please. If you know how to do it. If somebody knows now, do a CD and then a blank, and then do a right click of your mouse. There it is, right? Enter. So now you are in the right directory where your program. Now let's combine. The compilation command is Java, right? And the name of the class is called greeting.
You're right.
And can
The public,
compile.
the main one.
Okay, it has an error. It says there is an error somewhere. So what is let's open the code. So it's right in the first line. So open your code. Text pad or whatever. Notepad or whatever. This is the program you need. Double click, right click and open the notepad. Whatever you are doing. Okay, there. So your first problem is somewhere right.
Oh.
So let's so if you called it greetings, you have to save it in greetings.java. If you called it greetings.m2, you have to save it in greetings.m2. So remove the from. Now you're good to go. Save it. Let's go back to the command window. No, close it because you'll have to take something. That's okay, you'll learn. And now use your arrow key to again get the previous command. And you enter. Still have an error. It's still saying.
Yeah. So,
It's not reading this publication. Here is a file name. Reading is oh, GR. Reading is very good. Okay, so let's again and try again. Go back to the command window. Again, the same use the arrow key. Pilot. Okay, now let's run it. To run it, we go Java. Command is Java only. And again, we start with the name of the class. G do tab completion, remove the class. I want to put meetings after that compile. Okay, who else is stuck? What's not happening? Oh, so you have some errors. So that's okay. Yeah, these are errors. So look at it. It says you missed a semicolon somewhere. You missed something on line 8, something on line 13. It's not, yeah, so open your code now. Let's look at the errors. The one you read. Okay, so you called it greetings, and here you're saying hello to Java. Exactly. Okay. So it says, oh, these are, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
So let's start. Include java.lang dot stuff after the line dot stuff. That's one. Okay, second line. Public class help. Public static void means string spelling is wrong. string. That's okay. That's okay. System.out.print no blank after the print. Save it. Do a control S. Just do control S. Okay, come back to your window. Use your arrow key to go up again. Let's do it again. Let's compile.
Okay.
Okay, now let's run it. So Java, and then again the same name of the file. Tab, remove the class. There you are. No problem.
Yeah.
Did not load main class. Okay, so now how did you save it? What was it called? Can you show me? So you called it greetings from Nora, and how? What is the name of this file? It's from Nora.java. Okay, now come back to the command window. Let's see, what does it say? Oh, you're using Java here. So when you compile it, then you give this, okay? Oh, Java is not recognized. It's not even in your environment variable, the one that we just did. Okay, open your folder. Open C drive. We just did it in class. So look for your C drive. Yeah. The C drive, go to your double click. Yeah, open this one. Go to your go to program files. Double click on it, please. Go to Java. Go to your JDK 1.8. Double click on bin. Copy that address here. Yellow folder. Click on yellow folder. Please copy that address. Do a control C. Okay. Now open your command.
If you
Search
think Java's
for
bad,
system.
switch you get to C.
Look for system. No. We want to make that change in the variable. Look for system. System information. Here, click on system. Click on advanced system settings. Go to environment variables.
Java's not the issue. It's the compiling.
Path. Click on path. Add new. Okay, copy that address. So okay. And an okay. And an okay. Okay, now let's come back. Close the command window. Open a new command window. Close all the command windows. Open it, close, open a new one. Everything, all. Because now we made a change, right? Now do a CMD. Again, yeah. Okay, go back. Now do a CD. CD for change directory and go to the directory where you saved your program. Okay, so copy that code. Click on the yellow one. No, where did you save your program? Java program. Okay. So click on that yellow folder. Copy that. Control C. This is a short form. Okay. Control V. Right click and control V. Right click. Okay. So now you're in the right directory, right? Now go Java. We are compiling the program. Which program? What did you call it? Greetings or something, right? If it was a long name, we would say. There it is. No errors. Okay, now let's run it. Java is to run it. And again, same thing. Remove the dot class one. Where is it stuck? Oh, oh God. See white. Can you close this command window, and if you have it everywhere, now open a new window and try? Okay, now go to your CD to whatever where you have saved your program. CD, change directory, and then right here. Where have you saved your program? There. Wait, what are we doing now? So you called it new folder?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's try to, it's not a Java, it's Java. Let's see if Java was, if you said I've done it properly. Okay, so now let's do a Java. No, this it's a numlock. The other error, can I use it without the numlock? Oh, okay, so Java, now the name of your program. What did it start with? Meetings? Just do a tab key. We'll complete. It says there is nothing called GR, starting with G. What did you call it? I want to see where you saved that program. Where is, there is a greetings from Nora.java, there is a greetings.java. Can you click on that yellow thing? So D, Georgian programming framework, there's new folders here. Where did they getting the greetings? Because there are so many greetings, maybe that's why. Okay, so complete it here. Go back here, write it as greetings.java. Complete it. You'll have to type it yourself because there are so many greetings. Okay? .java.
Yeah, it's kind of.
And do an enter. Okay, I have to look at it. Did you get it done? No. Okay, where are these? Okay, so now that means it has compiled it. It's compiled. Now run it. Say Java. And then again, start with greetings and do a tab. Okay. That's okay. No. Tab means it will complete. Okay. So now you're running the system. Do an enter. Anybody else? Still stuck? Okay, so it says, what are we doing?
Yes. I bypass.
Are you in the right directory? Yes, okay, now give the Java. Say Java. Okay, so now say Java. Say Java, give it. So, no, but first go to the right directory. Where does it change directory? Say CD. CD, change directory. CD. Enter, and then I want you to copy this directory name. Do a right click and paste. No, copy, paste. Now let's say Java. Don't get. Okay, so now the name of the program. Read it. Press the tab key. Complete. .java. It says this path is not available, so something is wrong in the path. Oh, you're again back to the same C user. So after you change directory, why don't you go to the directory, come back to this directory, it's a default. Why is that happening? No clue. So when I do a CD, I do a CD, I should go here. Okay, now say Java command. No, not that one. This one. No, it's something else. Something with this system, because I don't know how come you are still in users JC portfolio. Can you click on the yellow folder?
Yeah.
Then we go towards the left and see what it is. Is that the right path? Users JC 64 documents.
Yeah, you did.
No, go to the right. Go to the right. There should be. Just click on it and then use the arrow. More right.
There's
Now
nothing.
click on it again. More right. I want to see RBI. Yeah, so it is right. It is users JCC documents. So I don't find the path. Maybe because you have all these dashes on and it doesn't recognize something like that. Just make it minimum. Okay. Anybody else? Are you okay? Just put closing bracket for this. So you open the class here with this curly brackets, put a closing bracket here.
There's an actual here.
Say
Okay, I
it.
should just close all this down.
What are you? Oh, so this is not Windows, right?
Where's your file?
Oh,
Where did you write
this
this?
is why.
But here.
I don't know how.
It should work now.
You have to create a program and edit it. And notice, and another thing I want to call your program Hello World. Here you call it.
Everything that
This is your program and it's called MSAM1. Right? So it should be saved as a file called MSAM1.
you see how you can have it.
Okay, now that was your command method. Is that your command method? So what is this? Which operating system are you using? Linux.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I took quite a bit of Java.
Okay, so because I don't know about Mac then. NetBeans, yes, you can run it.
I don't think you know.
But the whole thing is, the whole purpose is telling you how to run it on the command line, right?
When did you graduate high school?
Did you install it on your operating system?
You can change college laptops, you cannot change that. So you can do it. You have to have your own laptop, that's why it's in your own devices. So when you have it, you must. Let's try. Let's see. You can do it.
Do a fresh install.
College laptop won't let you change the environment, right? So you have to have your own laptop. Are you okay? Compile. See the stuff? Done? Everybody okay? Compiling for everybody, running for everybody? Okay, good. Okay, so the first program, oh God, we have to take a break now because it's break time. But anyway, so we've written our first program. We haven't completed it. We have to learn many more things and it's okay. We are going slower than what the agenda was. Really slow, but that's fine. Take a break of 20 minutes, come back and we'll continue. Okay? Maybe I should have just given a break and didn't realize there would be so many people having problems.
Yeah, so pretty much everything so far except that whole compile. We compile stuff for me. Wow. Wow. You're right here. The file name except yeah.
So I was the one that missed, like I'm in the Monday class, but I wasn't able to come to this, so I can do this.
Oh,
instead.
okay.
Was there any like in-class assignments?
Yeah, but they're way ahead. We were able to finish the whole program and give an in-class. So will you be back on Monday next week is what will happen? So then you will miss a few things. Or you can just listen to my video from yesterday, from what you missed. And on the video, you will see what I told them to do. You will hear it. So then you just complete it and show it to me next week.
Yeah.
Because we won't be able to do it today. This class is a little behind.
We don't need any like programs or anything.
It will tell you what to do. You just have to add a few things to the program that you finished to do.
Okay.
Okay. And then next week when you come to class, I just see it.
Yep.
Okay.
Why is it like this big whole year and then Spain is just it has to be the same as
So I've understood everything that you said,
Good to know.
but I don't think I can run this on this computer. This is from the college.
Oh yeah.
So
You can change the environment.
I can actually change the environment. I did.
Oh, you did?
I did.
There's another student who has a college computer and he couldn't change it.
Environment variables.
Sorry. Oh, I really wish I could help.
So I've got it in here.
Excuse me. See how he changed it on the college computers. He'll tell you. So you have it there.
I have it there. Problem is,
Did you do it? So you close the old. So do an OK here. It's here, just everywhere. So you close the old command window just in case it was open and try it again.
So
Close all your OKs,
it's
all your
my-
environment.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Just give Java. Let's see even if it exists. See,
It
it's not
doesn't-
recognized, so it didn't
it
let you
doesn't
make the
exist.
change.
No, it doesn't exist. Here's
No.
my file, and these are the only two things that have JavaC in them. There is no JavaC program in it.
Oh, so you're saying that Java is not installed on the college computers?
It's not the Java isn't installed, the Java
The,
script
the script.
editor.
So then you can do it on college computers.
Can't do it at all. Which
Can you install Java 1.8? I don't know.
we can't. That's what I spent all last week. There is what looks
But
to
that's-
be the script editor here.
But that's just a launch unit. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything. This one actually pops up. This is how you install Java. Is that just
Mhm.
install Java? This one won't run, no matter what I do.
It doesn't install it.
Well,
The
this
launch?
this installs Java, but this won't install the script editor. It just does that, and it does nothing afterwards. So it's it will not install the Java.
Can I see the C drive? I think you're running on the cloud. Yeah, so it doesn't have anything on the C drive.
It has
Program files. Is there Java inside it?
Java's right here.
Double click on it. Oh, they only have the JRE. They don't have the JDK.
Yeah.
The JDK is running from the cloud.
Okay.
So adding it to the environment variable has not done anything.
Okay. All right. Well, that solves that problem. I didn't think it was possible because I've done everything. and-
Yeah, no, because you see it's not here, so it's running on the cloud.
Yeah.
All applications are launching on the cloud.
Okay.
Okay,
I
so
can't get into that.
no, you can't.
That's- that would be dangerous.
Yes. This was Atom was being used yesterday by a student too,
Yeah.
and he couldn't compile his program. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but it's saying something else. So did you just say Java? At least was that installed?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Are you in the right directory?
Yep.
Java practice. Now give your command again. The Java command. Complete.
Oh,
Java and the name of the program.
would it be dot
Dot Java, yes. There it compiles.
Yeah, but it's not showing the code itself.
No, now run it. Now say again, same. Oh yeah, it is created a class. So yeah, go complete it. Say it is plain code, C capital. Nothing else, yeah. There.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, just wasn't sure.
That's
Thank you.
okay. No problem. What is this Atom? It's an editor for Windows?
It's usually for HTML.
Oh, okay. But so yesterday he sent me the program. He said, I'm doing it on Atom, but I didn't know about Atom. But it was fine with me, so I don't know. Yes, Daniel?
I wrote on Atom and it was completely fine for me once I got it going.
Yeah, so I don't know. That student must have had some other problem on his laptop then. Because it was running fine on my laptop and it's running fine for you guys also. So it's just like a simple editor, free download.
Yeah. It's I think brackets is an offshoot of Atom.
Okay.
Atom's an open source thing.
Open source thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
I could just download it on my laptop also.
I think it's one of the more popular HTML editors.
Okay, so that means it color codes your HTML.
Yeah. And it gives you a lot of automatic suggestions.
Exactly. Okay, that's why you guys use it, because maybe you're using it in HTML course. That's fine. Atom will also work fine. Where are you stuck? Still stuck with something? When is the long weekend? Is it before the reading week or after? October 7th? Okay, so you'll have to catch up in that week. The other Monday will lose and I'll make you catch up. You're going slow. So I'm okay, but you will need to catch up, right? So I won't slow them down, but that way you'll be at par with them. After that, you can slow. Then you'll have to be out in speed. Yes. They just did more. But then if you don't understand it, you don't. You just watch your own. But if you want to, sure. They were able to do more because we didn't have this problem. JVAC was running for everybody. That's okay. That's fine. It happens sometimes, but you'll catch up. It's okay. I want you to get the language right.
So I can compile it fine. And so when I put sorry, it's hard.
Yeah, that's okay.
When I try
Okay, so
to-
you don't put dot class. You say only Java greetings.
Okay.
Don't say dot class. Say Java blank greetings, and it will run. Okay.
What is that? Okay.
Did the path work? What was the problem? Just the name was too long and all that special character? Oh, good.
So what's on DDGs for your What's on DDGs for your HTML thing? I should do something just hash rows. It's not rock. It's not rock. Well, it takes up quite a few options when you get up. Not too many options do you take it out. But it does take up quite a few. You listen to a lot of music. I don't know if she's gonna like mine.
But I don't think it's. But don't show me the answer. Just
Is everybody back? Do you think we can kind of go forward? Somebody just left. Anybody missing in your on your table? One person? I know I said 20 minutes, so but we'll wait. Okay, let's begin, guys, then. Let's see. I've written another print statement. So you'll say, oh, another one? Yeah, because I want to show you something. So I've written another print statement here which says, welcome to Georgian College was the first one. Computer Studies Department is the second one. And I've written a comment which says, print displays a message and sits at that point. I want to show you what do I mean by sits at that point. Okay. And just for the heck of it, we'll kind of put a blank here. So there is one print statement and there is another print statement following it. Right? And I want to show you how it works. How does print work? And what does it mean by sits at that point? So please add this to your code. The last two lines to your code, we'll compile it again and we'll run it again. Okay. So students who are having a problem with the college computer, I mean, there is no solution to it, kind of, because you can't, I mean, it's running on the cloud. So you only have the JRE on your laptops, but the JDK is on the cloud. So you can make changes. Done? So now I want to show you what happens. So the first statement is saying, welcome to Georgian College. The second statement is saying, I put a blank there for a reason, and I'll tell you why. And then it says Computer Studies Department. So in a way, it is going to say, welcome to Georgian College Computer Studies Department in the same line. So the first print statement will write, and it will just sit there. It won't move anywhere. And so the second print statement will continue from the same point where the first one stopped, right? Let's try this. Let's try. And then I'll show you something else. Or maybe just do it. And I want to show you print ln displays a message and moves to a new line. Go ahead, Daniel, I'm listening.
Huh?
I'm listening. Did you have a question?
No.
Okay.
It's just that I got used to using print ln to mean so that's with the formatting.
Okay. Oops. Just kind of type it in as what I am doing, and then I'm going to show you how it works. I'm just putting some messages. You could put whatever you like. It really doesn't matter. What I'm trying to show you is a print method and a print ln. That's an ln line. Okay, that's an ln method. When you've completed it, then we'll compile it and run it, and I'll explain what I've done. Okay. Okay, so let's see what I did. This is what you did before you left for the break. You just put a message on the screen, right? And then I said, oh, what does print do? Print basically displays a message and sits at that point. What am I trying to say is that if I follow it by another print statement, this will come on the same line as the previous one, because it said, welcome to Georgian College, and it just sits there. And then the next print will say Computer Studies Department and will sit there. Then I follow it by an empty println statement, takes no parameters. What does ln do? Ln says I will print something and go to a new line. What am I printing? Nothing. So basically, if I'm printing nothing, all it does, it goes to a new line. Now the next message, Java is fun to learn, will start from a new line. So the difference between the print method and the print line method, which is ln for short, is simply this. Print will print and sit. So if there is another print after it, it will start from the same line. Print ln will print and go to a new line. So if I have another print after it, it will start from a new line. So let's see what is happening. And I'm all indenting it the same way so that you can see. Okay. So we have print, println, and again a print. So let's kind of play a game, computer game. So what will the first print statement do? Let's do it on Blackboard. So this on Blackboard here, so that you see how it works. So this is saying playing the computer. Okay, so what does the computer do? Right? So it says, welcome to Georgian College. I'm kind of going short. It will say, welcome to Georgian College. That's my first print statement, right? And then the cursor just sits here. It doesn't move, right? It just sits here. And then it encounters the second print statement, and it says Computer Studies Department. So there's a blank, and I put the blank so the Computer Studies Department looks neater. And it again sits here. It is here. Then it encounters the third system mode print ln statement, print line. It is sitting here and it's saying now print something, but that something is empty. So it prints nothing, but moves to a new line here. So print, and the difference between the print method and the print line method is simply this. Print and sit, print and move to a new line. That's the difference. So now after that empty print line, what will happen? This will start from a new line. Java is fun to learn will start from a new line. And the cursor will go to the next line because it's a print line, right? So it will go to the next line automatically and have fun with it. It will go on a new line. That's the difference between the print method and the print line method. That's it. That's the difference. Okay. So let's save this. Let's go back to our command window. Let's compile it again with the javac command. If we have made no errors, we should be good. Let's run it again with the Java command. And there it is. Welcome to Georgian College Computer Studies Department. Java is fun to learn. Have fun with it. Exactly like I wrote on the Blackboard, right? So print prints and sits. And anything following it will start from the same point. Print line prints and goes to the new line. So anything following it will start from a new. See the difference between the two, right? There is a third method also, printf, but I'll come to it after I do something else with it. So is it clear? Yes.
You've just saved yourself the time when writing. You can go back to the code.
Yes, we can save things. Now I'll show you how you can kind of put lines yourself if you like and do things. Okay. Now let's learn about some escape sequences in Java, or characters as they are called. I'm going to write something and kind of show you how I can do stuff together. So I'm writing a print, right? You can do whatever you like. Let's see. And I'm putting a very special character here, \n. You see a new character here. Very strange kind of. Like you have, like in normal English, we wouldn't put it, right? So I'm saying my name is Anju Chawla, and then I've put a \n and I live in Canada, right? Escape sequences in Java, \n is an example of one. There are more, \t. There are more, \\. There are more, \double quotes, and so on and so on and so forth. What does the \n stand for? New line. What does the \t stand for? Tab. What the \\/ stands for? If you want to print a \, how will you print it? Because \, and why are they called escape sequences? Because you're escaping their actual meaning. N has a meaning. What is the meaning of N? N. When you put a \, in front of it, you're saying, I'm escaping the meaning of N, but do this for me, go to a new line. T is T, but when I say \t, I say put a tab for me. So you're escaping its meaning. If I want to print a \, how do I do it? Because \/ has a special meaning. You say, what is the special meaning? I'm using it in an escape sequence. It has a special meaning. So if I want to print a \, I'll have to write \/ to print. Double quotes has a special meaning. What? You're putting your strings in double quotes. So if I want to print a double quote in my name, what do? I write \/ double quote. Right? So let's do it one by one. So let's save this and see the effect of \n. Then I'll show you the effects of others. Okay. Let's see the effect of \n first. What does it do? So though it is a print, and I said print just prints and sits, this should come in one line, right? But the \/ inside that print statement will force it to go to a new line. It will force it to go to a new line. Let's see if it works. So save it, go back to your command window, and let's see the effect of, compile it again. Run it again. See, my name is Anju and I live in Canada in 2 different lines. But why is my name starting from the previous line? Because previous to that, it was have fun with it. It was a print. So it just sat there, have fun with it. It sat there and then it said, my name is Anju Chawla from the same name. But \n has caused I live in Canada to go to a new line. So you can use escape sequences in your print statement. So let's see how does tab work. Would you like to see tab? You can make an educated guess. Copy it. Just copy this. And instead of \n, put a \t and see the effect. Suppose I want to say this. I want to say my name in double quotes for whatever reason. The system will be completely confused. Why it says, oh, I have a double quote starting it. You gave me another double quote, that means you ended it. But now you have something after it. What's going on? I mean, if you need a double quote to be printed, you have to tell me you want to print the double quote. Otherwise, double quote starts a literal and ends a literal. Literal means a constant, right? A string literal. So now what do? I want to say my name is Anju Chawla, but I want to print it like this with the double quotes. I want to print my name is Anju Chawla, but Anju Chawla should be in double quotes. But the poor guy is right. He says, oh, you began here, so you ended here. Notice it's ended here, and this is in black, as if it was a name of a variable. So to get the \, put a slash in front of it. Now it will be printed. Now the double quotes will be printed. They have been removed away from their special meaning, which is delimiting a string. So to print a double quote, you will have to go \double quote. to print it, to really print it on the screen. To print a slash for whatever reason, you just put it. So these are escape sequences. \n is an escape sequence, takes you to a new line. This will produce a tab. You will notice there will be space between these two lines. And this will produce a double quote. A double quote will be printed on the screen. So because I am kind of escaping their meaning, they are called escape sequences. There are a few more. Right? You can just Google it and see. There are a few more. I can remember. There is a \R for carriage return. \B, go back one space. There are a few in Java. Let's see the effect of it. Let's save this. Let's compile our program again. Use your arrow keys to go back and compile it again. If I haven't made any errors, let's run it again and see the effect. Do you see? I live in oh God, where is it? Here, my name is, here is the tab. Very small, but there is a tab here. This is a tab. Maybe I should just do a print ln. That way it will be neater. So do print lns. That way it's neater. Neater means at least you can read it, right? Change them to print lns. Then they start with a new line. So you should be, if you want 2 tabs, put 2 tabs here. Put back tab twice. It will give you 2 tabs. You want 3 tabs, put 3 tabs. You want 4 tabs, put 4 tabs, right? You want to leave 2 empty lines, put \n twice. So you can use them as many number of times as you like. So let's try this now. Why did I change it to ln? Because at least then I can read it cleanly. Otherwise, I wasn't even able to read it, right? So I've changed my prints to print lns everywhere. At least they will come on different lines. So starting from here, I've changed everything to lns. Okay, now let's try it. At least reading will be easier. Okay, so compile it again. Run it. Oh, now it's good. Now see. Now it's easier to read. So my name is Anju Chawla and I live in Canada is coming from \n. Go to a new line. My name is Anju Chawla and 2 tabs. This is coming from the 2 tabs, \t twice, 2 tabs. Remove one, you will only have 1 tab. This double quote is coming from \double quotes. So I've used escape sequences to kind of create a new line. So if I'm writing all in one and I don't know, I'm too lazy to write 2 println statements, you can force it to go to a new line by putting a \n in your code itself. Put 2, it will leave an empty line. Put 3, will leave 2 empty lines. Put 4, it will leave 4 empty lines. So you can kind of look at your output as you want it. Okay, that's the use. Similarly with tab, you want 1 tabs, 2 tabs, so on. Similarly with double quotes. So there is a carriage return also, which is very untidy, but I'll show you what it does if you're interested. What does carriage return do? Again, coming from the disk of old systems, if I have a \R here, so I've said my name is \R Anju Chawla. Let's see the effect of this carriage return, right? You'll see it when you see it. Let's save this, right? And see what does it do. Let's go back here. Let's compile again. Let's run again. Let's shorten this a little. So look at the last one. Where did my name go? I said my name is, then I gave a \R and Anju Chawla, but you're only seeing Anju Chawla in the last line. What did it do? The \R is a carriage return, takes you back to the beginning of the line. So it overwrote my name is by Anju Chawla. That's what \R does, carriage return. Just takes you to the beginning of the line again. And why do I have an extra blank before the A? Because I have an extra blank here. So it just replaced it. It said, oh, and say Anju Chawla. So my name is removed. The message, my name is removed and only Anju Chawla is on it. That's what \R does. Goes to the beginning of the line. It's called a carriage return. So there are a few of them. Do I need to know all of them? Sure, why not? Just go and look for it. There is a \B, just goes back 1 space. use a \B for backspace, just one, like your backspace on your computer. So what will happen? It will say my name is, and I think it will remove this blank because Anju Chawla, there is no blank before Anju Chawla. That's what it will do. So it says go back one space. That's all it is saying. Go back one space. Like your backspace key on your keyboard. Save it. Go back to your window. Compile it again. Run it. And see, there is no space between is and Anju Chawla. There was a space in my code. There is space in my code. Here it is. But then I said go back one space. So these are called escape sequences. Okay? Just so that you know. So you don't have to write printlns many times if you want to write a message in different lines. You can put \n and write as big a message as you want. It will automatically, the \n will make you go to a new line. Okay, so we've done enough of printing. Now our next job, how do you take input from the user? It's all good. Printing is easy. Print, do println, use escape sequences, no big deal. It's all good. Now, next important thing, input. How do you take input from the user? So definitely somebody must have thought about it because input is as important as output. A class is already there. There should be a class there which will help me take input from the user. I can take input from my standard keyboard, or I can take input from a file. I can take input from wherever, whatever. But let's only talk about keyboard today. Now, the class is called scanner. So in the Java library, in the package java.util sits a class called scanner that allows you to work with a input object, right? So the class is called scanner. The package is called java.util. So that means I'll have to do two things. One, the first thing I'll have to do is I'll have to import that package. Import that package called java.util. It is called for utilities. It's a short form of utilities. If you're only interested in the scanner class, write it like this. If you are interested in all classes, put a star. The difference, this one is saying I'm only going to use the scanner from the package. You can't use any other class. Star, I'll use all the classes. One is being lazy, the other is being specific. Or you could say, oh, if I'm using more than one classes, why will I write scanner and this? I'll just put a star. So it depends. It's your style. It's your preference. Some people will put a star and say all classes, and some people will specifically mention the class so that it's clear that I'm going to use the scanner class. So that's another way of doing it. Just say dot, the name of the class you are interested in. Or say star, and it will import all classes. Yes? Now let me tell you something else. Remember, the import is not copying code. If it was copying code, then there would be a difference in the compilation time, right? But if it is not copying code, it's just an informative statement saying I'll use that class. So only look for that. So the compiler only says, oh, scanner is required, but the code is not copied. In some languages, the code is copied. There is an include, for example. There it will make a difference. Your program length will increase, and then the compilation time will be different. Not here, it's okay here. Okay. So in Java, you can mention the name of the class you want, or if you want it, you could have written it like this also. It's your preference, whatever you like. You could have just said this, choose whatever you like. The dot star imports all classes of the java.util package. Dot scanner only allows you the use of the scanner class. Whichever way you prefer is fine by me. The difference is here you are saying every class, here you are saying scanner. This gives you more flexibility in the sense I don't have to bother writing the name every time. I'm saying everything. So choose whatever you like. I'm just showing you two forms. I've shown you this form already. I'm showing you a new form so that you know that there is. So only the class scanner is imported. That's the difference. And here, all classes are imported. Or you can put that comment here. You can say imported or can be used. Whatever makes sense to you. right? That's the difference between just naming the class and putting a star. So naming the class scanner is imported, and putting a star, all classes can be used. That's the difference, okay? So that's job number one. Somebody has written a scanner class for me. I know it is used for input, so I have to import that package. It's not imported by default, so I import it. Job number two now. Job number two says, if you are going to use the scanner class, first create an object of it. We've already said it. I've said class is only a definition. You need a physical object to work with it. So you said you didn't do it in print because the system had already done system.out for me. I didn't have to create an object of it. But now the scanner has not done it. It says, oh, printing is common, reading is not common. I don't know why, but they didn't do it. So if they didn't do it, we'll have to do it ourselves. So I'm going to declare and create. And notice I'm doing it right at the top after my main, though it's not a necessity. You can do it anywhere in main, because remember, data and methods are in a encapsulation. So it doesn't matter where you place it. It's just my preference that I like to declare my objects, my variables in the beginning of my code so that it's all at one place. You can put it at the end if you like in main. You can put it wherever in the middle. Really doesn't matter. This is my habit, and many programmers do it. They put all what they need, all the memory boxes they need, all the objects that they need at one place in the beginning of the method. Some like to put it at the end of the method. Usually you won't see it dancing in between, but it's a preference, right? How do I now declare and instantiate or create an input object, an object to take input? Okay, so scanner class, please give me an object. What would you like to call your object? Think about a good name. Like print is a good name of a method. Main is something that is already defined. What would you like to call your object? Something that you can remember that I'm using it for input. Maybe that's a good enough name, input. You could have called it hello if you like. Hello doesn't convey a lot of meaning, but input conveys a meaning that it's going to be used for input. You could have called it read if you like. Don't use a reserved word. Don't use if or main or void or static. Give it a name that you like. So this is the name of the object, like Mercedes, Audi, names of cars. You know what I mean? So it's a name that you've given. So scanner is the name of the class. It's just a definition. Now I need an object of it. I said, oh, I'll call my object chalk. So I called it input. Now I have to ask for it. I have to instantiate it. I go equal, give me a new object scanner. There, I've created. So before the assignment, equal is the assignment. The equal sign, though it's equal, it looks like equal, it is the equal sign, it's the assignment. You are saying scanner class, give me an input. You get it, but you have to create it. To create it, you do the new reserved word. You get a new scanner object. Now you have a real entity to work. And what is that entity called? Input. So this is how you create objects. New, name of the class. And then you have opening and closing brackets. But you'll say, you said opening and closing brackets are only used with methods. How come you're using it with the class? Actually, behind the scenes, I'm calling a method of the class, which is also called scanner. You will learn about it. Every class has special method by its name. So there is a method called scanner in the scanner class, which is actually called the constructor method, because it constructs an object. So every class, whether it be string, whether it be scanner, whatever class, your own class, greetings. By default, every class has a special method by the same name, which is called the constructor of the class. And what is its job? To construct an object. And how did I do it? I said new, and I called the method called scanner. It is a method because it has those round brackets, but it is just a special method, and the special method is called scanner. It may or may not take parameters, but mine, what do you want to connect your scanner with? What do you want to connect your input with? With keyboard. I'm saying, please connect it with the keyboard. So I've called the constructor of the scanner class and created an object called input, and input will take input from the keyboard because system.in stands for the standard input device, which is your keyboard. That's what I've done with this line. Okay, so I have created an object to take input from the keyboard. And you have, how have you done it? How do you create? Use new to create an object. That's how you do it. Every time you'll have to say new to create an object. And what are you calling? You're calling the constructor. It's just a method, but it's called a constructor of the scanner class. So new, call the constructor. The name of the constructor is same as the name of the class. This one requires parameters. I gave it a parameter. The parameter is which stream? What stream are you using? Stream, remember I said, is where you're doing things. I'm saying, oh, with my keyboard. That means if you can connect something to the keyboard, you can connect something to your file, you can connect something to a database, you can connect something to any of the inputs that you can think of. But I have connected it to the keyboard.
Just to clarify, you called input the variable scanner class?
I called the name of my object is input.
Okay.
The name of my object is input. You could have called it anything. The name of the class is scanner, right? So the object is called input. So it's the object is called input and it takes input from the keyboard. If it confuses you, call it in. Okay. I just called it input. Call it in, call it whatever you like, as long as you understand what you're doing. So does that statement make sense? So create an object of the scanner class before you can use it, because scanner is just a definition. Somebody has put it in the library. I'm asking that library blueprint to create an object for me so that I can use it. And I've called that object input. You could call it in. If it really confuses you, you can call it in, right? Just call it in. Here. I don't call it in just because system.in has a meaning already. So I prefer not to call it in. Call it whatever you like, as long as it makes sense to you. There, it's ready now. It will help me to read. So anytime I want to read something from the user, I'll say input, read this, input, read this, input, read this. I'll take input cell. That's all. That's all I'll do. So now let's look at the scanner class. How do I read a string if I want? How do I read a number if I want to read a number? How do I read a real number? So there are so many different things that you can read from the user. You can take a string from the user, text. You may take an integer from the user, 23. You may take a floating number, 12.5. So there are different things you may take from the user. So the input should know what is expected from the user. So before I go on to do that, I'm going to create more variables, right? One more. It is still an object. I'm going to create a name object of type string. What will I be able to save in this name? Any string. So string is the name of the class, right? Because it is so commonly used, I don't have to do new, but if you wanted to do new, you would go new string there. Though, as I said, since string is so common, we use text all the time, is very common in programs. I mean, it's like it should just be there, right? We can do without the new. So I'll kind of put it in a different line so that you can do without the new. That means you could have just said string name. That's it. You could have only said like this. You could have just said this. So internally, there is a difference which you need to understand right now. You could have simply said this and it would have still worked. So choose one of them. Don't write both of them. You can't say, oh, do it again and do it again. One box can only do one job. So now the way it's an object. So we don't call it still a variable. We still call it an object. I'll tell you what variable is in a minute. So now I have created another object. What did I call it? Name. Because I'm going to put your name inside it. I could have again called it anything. So it's a box in which I'll put your name. That's why I call it. If I was putting your semester number, I would have called it semester. If I was putting your email address, I would have called it email address. Just so that I know what I'm using it for. Like your names, right? Like your names. So it's just a box. The box is called name, and I will put your name inside it after I take it from the user. So I'll ask your name and put it inside this box. You say, why do you need boxes? If you don't have boxes, where will you keep your values that you want to work with? You can't use your head. So the box is a memory location. A box is nothing but a memory location in which you're putting something, and when you need it, you're peeking. What's inside you? As you peek inside your brain. Right? Same thing. So I've created an object called name, and it is of type string. String is in java.lang. It's a class in java.lang. I don't have to import it, though I have, but I don't need to. And the box is called name. And to start with, it has nothing inside it. I won't say empty, but it has nothing inside, right? So choose whatever you like. You can write this statement if you like, or you can choose this one if you like. So therefore, I said it is so common that you don't have to say new. It automatically does new for you. But in all other cases, whenever you create an object, you will have to say new, call the constructor, and if the constructor needs a parameter, you have to pass it a parameter. The new string one didn't need a parameter, I didn't pass it. But a class can have many constructors. Not only one, it can have many constructors. So you can create an object in many ways. So a black car, a red car, a blue car, a green car, a red car. You know what I mean? You can create them in different ways. So you can pass parameters, and there more than one constructors exist. And if you don't believe me, which is perfectly fine, if I go to string and I show you the constructor in this class, let's see here, look at the constructors this class has. There is an empty one which I've used. There is another one. There's another one. There is a deprecated one. There is more. You'll say, oh my God. So which one do I use? To begin with, let's keep your life simple. Let's use the empty one. What does it do? It initializes a newly created string object so that it represents an empty character sequence. There is nothing inside. That's what you do. And that's what you want, an empty box, right? So that's the one I've used. But there are many constructors. Some are deprecated. That means don't use them. Forget about them. But there are others. And look, there's a long list. So a class can have many constructors. The only thing which is easy to remember is the name of the constructor is same as the name of the class. Therefore, I go new string, new scanner. But I have round brackets, and that tells me, oh, it's a method that I'm calling. I'm not calling the class. I'm calling the method of the class. And it is just a special method. It's called constructor. Okay. So now, ready. Now, if I wanted to say, keep your age, what kind of box will I need? What is age? You're doing math with me, right? It's a number. What is it? An integer or a real? Integer. So I need an integer box, right? Now, when Java started 1.0, when Java started, at that point of time, 6 or 7 basic primitive data types were included in Java. Int for integers. For reals, there were flavors, float and double. There was a Boolean for true and false, and so on. Because that's what they said, oh, we'll need some basic data types, and they did it. And that's the only place in Java which is not object-oriented. Everything else is a class. Those are the only 6 or 7 basic primitive data types. So to see the basic primitive data types in Java, they're called primitive. Old guys. So it's still in the... Let's look at the primitive data types in Java. There are 8. And the 8 data types are, can you give me a list? Would be nice to have a list. They're int, float, double, short, and so on. But it would be nice to see a list very cleanly. There, maybe there, here. Here are the 8 primitive data types for you. Byte, as it says, a byte. 1 byte, 8 bits. Short, a short integer, right? Int, a normal integer. What do you mean by a normal and a short integer? Short integer is given 2 bytes, and integer is given 4 bytes. A long is given 8 bytes. So different flavors. Do you want to save the age? Short will do. Even a byte will do. A person's age. How long can a person live? 256 is what you can put maximum in a byte. 255 in a positive. I think it's more than enough, right? I haven't heard of anybody living more than 255 years. So you have to think, what do I need? Int. Of the int, which flavor do I need? Do I need a byte? Do I need 2 bytes? Do I need 4 bytes? Do I need 8 bytes? Depends on what kind of box do you need. Okay, so do I need a small copy, a medium copy, or a large copy, or an extra? Then come float and double, 2 flavors of real numbers. Float takes 4 bytes and double takes 8 bytes. You say, do you have to memorize all this? Of course not. You will find it somewhere in the manual, right? And the last, Boolean. Boolean is for true and false. Something like a switch on off, right? So if you wanted to put true, it's handy. Is it raining outside? True. Is it cold today? False. So if you need a Boolean variable. So when they created this primitive data types, they said, oh, what do we use generally in our lives? We use numbers, which are of type ints or reals, and we say true, false, and we use text. But text, they didn't create a string data type. They created a char, C-H-E-R, but in that char, you can only say one character. So for the text, they could have created a text primitive type, but they created the string class. But these are the only 8 places in Java that are not classes, that are primitive data types. Notice none of them start with a capital letter. But very quickly, they said, oops, we made a mistake. We said Java was a pure object-oriented programming language. We shouldn't have done this. We should have created classes for them. So they did create classes, and you have integer with a capital I, float with a capital F, D with a capital double. Then they created classes in Java 3 or 5, I can't remember. And now it's interchangeable. But they didn't remove the basic data types. So they still stay. They still stay. So you can use them. If they stay, why can't you use them? So if you want to kind of declare something of a particular type, all you do is, I'll go to the Oracle site so that maybe they'll show you the sizes also. So here they are showing the default value, but I was hoping they can show me the size also, that you don't have to remember. They will somewhere. How many bytes does each one of them take? So that's their default value. Short integer is a 0, int is a 0. 0L is for long integer, float is a 0, double is a 0. That's the character null. \U means Unicode, the null character by default. String, now see any object, they've come to string here, data type, but it's a class. It's null. It has nothing in, it's not defined till you do a new, but since it is common, and then Boolean has false inside it. So the two constants are true and false for Boolean. Okay, so here are your basic data types. This is not a data type. It should not be here. Though it says, but that's not included. It's not in one of the data types. So if in your program you needed to create an age variable, now I am calling it a variable. An int variable, instead of object, I'm calling it a variable to store the age. How would you do it? That's all. You don't have to do new with it because it's not an object. So that's what you don't do with primitive data types. You don't do new. You just say the type and you say the name of the variable. Okay? So now you have a box that can save a number. I could have used short. As I said, short was enough. Even byte is enough. Short takes 2 bytes. Even byte is enough. But I'm not going too much into detail right now because int makes more sense to you, hopefully. Integer, right? But I could use a byte or a short. I have a box called age to save a number, which should be an int. I have a box called name to save a string. And I have an object called input to take input from the user. My variables are ready. I've placed them at the beginning of the method. You could place them anywhere you like. You don't do new with primitive data types, okay? So an int variable to store the age. Again, Java has 8. We just found out, right? Primitive data types. So you should be aware which one to use, what size to use. You should know everything. And that's the only place where it is primitive, where it is non-object oriented. We don't use new with primitive data types. We just say the type and then the name you want to give it. I won't call it anything else but age, because it makes sense to call age of the person age. Okay, variables are ready. Now that we are ready, let's try to read input. So any questions on what I've done here? We need memory boxes. I've declared some memory boxes. I want to take input from the user. I need a scanner object. I've created a scanner object. So this, strings are usually called variables because it's so like common, but they are actually objects. That's what I was saying in that tutorial. It's not a data type, it's a class. The S itself says it is a class. But the primitive data types are also, they also have their counter classes called integer, double, float, everything. But that was introduced afterwards. I can't remember whether it was 3 or 5, and it doesn't matter really. For us, it's okay. Okay, now comes the big question. How do I take input from the user? I have that object called input. Now I have to use it. I have to know how to use it. So it should have, if it is an object, what will it have? Functionality or methods. So there should be methods with the scanner object that will say, oh, read an integer, read a real number, read a string. There should be. So let's look at it. Do we have them? Let's go to the scanner class. So in the scanner class, scanner belongs to java.util. So in the packages here, click on you. It's an easy way of doing it, or of course you can always search it. You can always search it. It doesn't, I mean, it's a HTML page, you can. But in the beginning, I'm just kind of trying to take you where it is. So java.util, the classes come here. Go to the class called string, where you are string, sorry, scanner, my mistake. I'm looking for scanner and looking for string. Wrong place. MNOPQRS, scanner. So here it is, java.util.scanner. So I had to import java.util. Makes sense? Extends object. Every class extends the object class. We've already said that. Ignore implements for now. Here is what we just did. They called it SC, I called it input. They have linked system in to SC. Wherever now you want to read something, you will say SC dot, name of the object dot, name of the method. And I think it's an educated guess. What do you think next int is saying? You can read an integer from the keyboard. That's how you read an integer from the keyboard. So if you can read an integer, can you read a string and so on? Yes, you can. And here are the methods. Down here, so here are all the constructors, of which I've used this one. The first one creates a new scanner. So I've used system.in. And here are the methods. They will come, wait, just wait. Here, so I can read a big decimal, a big integer, a boolean, an int, a float, a double, a long, a short. You'll say, what about string? I can't see it. Here it is, string. This is how you read a string. See, it returns a string. Click on it, see here. Advances the scanner past the current line and returns the input that was skipped. Basically, in very simple language, takes input from the user till the end of the line and returns a string. Look at the method signatures like your main. Public, instead of void, what do you see? String. This returns a string. Name of the method, next line. Parameter list, empty. Every method signature. You wrote a method called main. It was called public static void main and had a parameter list. This one is called public. It's not a static method. Instead of void, it returns a string. It returns a string to you. So when you read something from the keyboard, it gives it to you. So you will have to take it and put it somewhere. That's what is the meaning of return. It says, here, take it. So you put it in a box. In which box will you take this and put it? Which box did I create for my string? Name. I put it in my name box. So I'll read it from the user and I'll put it in the name box. Then I'll ask the age of the person, put it in the age box. Now I have the name and the age. I'll print it out and say, here is your name and here is your age. Right? So let's now read how to use this next line method. Okay, so let's take Input from the user. So when you take input from the user, isn't it nice to first ask the question, what is your name? So let's ask the question. How should we ask the question? Print it on the screen. I would prefer to use print here so that the cursor stops in the front. So please input your name. Ask the user this. Forgot my double quotes. I will put it in a minute. That question will come on the screen. Please input your name. And because it is a print, the cursor will stop right in front of the colon. And I want it. If you want it on a new line, then that's fine. It's nice to say the question and have the user enter it right in the front. Spelling is wrong. I'll get a compilation error. But of course, I should know of things, small things, before I start compiling for every small problem. Thank you. Right? That question will come on the screen. Now, what is your job? You have to take input from the user. Right? So what is your object called? Input. Okay. Which method did we just saw help us to take a string? Dot. Next line. And what was it returning? A string. So assign it to a string box. Right? So what have you done here? What have you done here? You are using the next line method of the string class. You'll say, where? How do I know it is of the string class? Because, oh, sorry, of the scanner class. You'll say, how do I know it's of the scanner class? Because this is an object of the scanner class. Input is an object of the scanner class. So using the next line method of the scanner class to read or input or to take a string from the user. Keyboard. Remember, I've connected it to the keyboard, system.in. That's what it is doing. And you're assigning it. Now you will say, what if I forget to do this? It's not saved anywhere. It will take the input and gone in the air. You didn't save it anywhere, so it's gone. You don't have access to it. So you ask the name, the user input the name, and then you didn't save it anywhere. So if you didn't save it anywhere, it's like, how can you use it then? So if a method is returning a value, be sure to put it in a box, because that's how you will use it. If you don't put it in a box, you can't use it. So don't forget it. If you forget it, where is it? So it will take input. Maybe it will give me a compilation error. Hopefully, maybe it's smart enough to say it's returning a value and you didn't save it. Let's see if it does. Okay, let's try it. Let's try what happens. Okay, so I have added a print statement. Please input your name, should come on the screen. I will enter my name in front of it. Till I press the enter key, anything you enter will be taken from the user. And then I didn't put it anywhere. Let's see what happens. So go back to your, compile it again. Oh, it says here. Oh, I forgot my semicolon, it says. Okay, so that's not the problem. Right now, I'm seeing if it is smart enough to say you haven't assigned it. I doubt, but I don't know. I mean, it's the I don't care attitude. I give you something, if you don't take it, you don't take it kind of stuff. But I'm hoping that they made it a little smarter, but who knows? Can't say anything. Okay, no. So it doesn't tell you that you have to put it somewhere. So you should be smart enough as a programmer not to not to forget this. Don't forget to assign it. If you don't assign it, that's fine, in the sense that it will take input, but it won't save it anywhere. So I was hoping that it would give me an error, but it did not. It didn't give me any error. So if I run it, see, it's saying, please input your name. Do you see it? You see the last line? Please input your name. Enter it. Whatever you like. Doesn't matter. Any string will do. Hello, hi, whatever. It's just going to take whatever input you take till you press the enter key. But then you did nothing with it. So program finished. Ended. You didn't save it anywhere. You didn't display it. How will you display it if you didn't save it anywhere? Right? So I have to save it. So when you use a method, please be sure that you know the name of the method, that you know does it or does it not require any parameters, and what does it return. Those are the signatures of the method, right? These are the signatures. What is the name of the method? Next line. Any parameters? No. What does it return? A string. Those are the signatures of the method, and it's public. I can use it. If it was private, I wouldn't be able to use it. No user will be able to use a private method. You'll say, then why would I create private methods? Why would anybody create private methods in the library? To do some private work, you will learn. You will learn to create private methods. I don't want that to be available to everybody, but I'm using it internally for something, right? So you have the switch on and off. How is it working internally? You don't know. So I may need private methods which are not available to the general public, but they are useful in doing things for me inside my class. So I should know how to use the method, what parameters does it take, and what does it return. Okay, what about age now? Let's ask another question. So that's the name of the person. Let's ask another question. We'll put an empty print line, okay? Because I don't want to ask the question on the same line. Go to a new line and then ask the next question. What do you think the next question will be? If you don't want to answer it, sure, please enter your age. And I can make it much better. I'll show you how. But anyway, please enter your age. And take the age and put it in the age box. And use the same object. And use the next int method to read an integer. So see how easy it is? I have an object. I just use the method I want. So the next line reads a string. That's what it expects. So anything you enter, you may be entering numbers, doesn't matter. But anything, the next line says that whatever you give me, I will convert it into a string. So it has to go into a string box. So I can say, what is your name? 123. But that 123 is 123 string. It's not the number 123. So put in anything. Next line says, give me whatever you like. Till you press enter, all that you give me, I'll take it. Convert. It is a string for me. It is nothing else but a string. And I'll put it in name. So name has to be a string object. Next int says, whatever you give me, as long as it is, don't give me ABC, don't give me Anju, I'll blow up. That will be a runtime error. Fatal error. It will stop. It will say, I'm asking an integer from you and you're giving me Anju. So if you give an integer, it will take it from you and it will put it in an integer box. So don't put it in name, put it in an integer box. So use the right variable or the box on the left-hand side of the assignment because you should know what is being returned from the right-hand side. So next int must return an integer. How do I know? Go back to your here, look for next int. I see a next line. It's just better to go up and next long, next short, next line. There it is. Look at the signatures. What does it return? An int. So I put it in an int box. So don't do this. Take a sandwich and put it in a glass, take a coffee and put it in a plate. Don't do that. So the method signatures will tell you what it is returning. Put what is being returned. Assign it in the right type of variable or object. Otherwise, of course, it's a mess. Can you take coffee and put it in a plate? No. Saucer? No. Can, but no. Right? Can you take a sandwich and put it in a glass? No. Sandwiches do usually you return a plate. You could try, right? But this won't work here. You don't put it in the right kind of box, it will blow up. And give it the right data also. If you are saying what's your age, don't say Anju. You'll say, but users will. Do you expect users to listen to you? Do we listen to something if we are told? We'll do whatever we want. So what will my program do? It'll say, oh, okay, if your age is Anju, shut down. I won't work for you. Right? Or if I was a good programmer, which you will be in a few days, you will learn how to handle these exceptions. You've asked for somebody's age and they're giving you ABC. So you can write on the screen, don't fool me, that's not an integer. And the program continues. Right? So we'll learn how to do this exception handling, but towards the end, almost towards the end. But exception handling has to be done. Otherwise, what will it be? Gigo, garbage in, garbage out. Give me garbage, I'll give you garbage. back. So we don't want that in a program. So every time input is taken in a program, it is validated. If it is correct, processing is done. If it is incorrect, the user is either told it is incorrect and asked again, or the program says, okay, bye, you are not listening to me. And if you don't do this, the program just shuts down abnormally also, and I'll show it to you, right? Okay, so I've taken the age and I've taken, oh God, and I've taken the name. Okay, just before I leave everything here, I'm going to now print this information. And I'm going to show you the third printing I promised. System.out print F for formatted printing. Formatted printing using format specifiers. We'll come back to it again, okay? Okay. Now, I can do it in a few ways. Let me do it one way first and then use the, okay, so let's do it something that you've learned before. Use your println like you did before. And we'll kind of write a message. We'll say hello. We'll put a comma. Now I need the person's name. I can put name here because if I put name here, it will just print name, the word name. I want to put what's inside the box. So close your message, put a plus and put name. What is this plus? Plus is a concatenation operator which puts two strings together. So hello is a string, it's a literal, and name is a string object. So it will say hello and it will do name. So plus is a concatenation operator. It's not the mathematical plus. There is another mathematical plus also. Kind of looks odd, but you can do it, okay? So it will say hello. The word hello, comma, blank will be printed. Then it says, oh, I see a break. It will do a break of plus. Then it will look inside the name box and it will print the value of the name box, right? Then again, you want to say hello and maybe put a period. And then you want to say welcome, maybe, or let's put your age is, I'm kind of splitting it back. And now I have to again show the age. So I'll show the age. This is one way of doing it. So you've used a println statement, but you have to be careful now. You are using literals or words where you want to say like hello is a literal, your age is a literal, right? And where you want to show the value inside a memory box, you are just using the name, not in double quotes, just the name of that variable. So name will show me what's inside the name box and age will show me what's inside the age box. So what will it print? It will print hello, whatever is in the name box, a period, your age is, and whatever you entered for the age. That's what it will do. Okay, so let's try it first before going here to the printed format, which may be a little difficult today, but let's try it. Okay, so let's try it here. Oops. Here. Let's see what does this do. So plus is the concatenation operator, which kind of joins strings. So it's not joining, it's putting together string, literals, or objects. Literals, L literals. I mean, variables and objects, you can say. That's what it concatenates. So this is a literal. This is called a literal. What it's you kind of what you see is what it is. And this is called a variable. I mean, you can call them variables or objects and values of objects, right? Let's see how it works. Okay, go back to your window, command window, compile it again, run it. Here, please input your name. First question, enter. Please enter your age, right? So we'll go, I won't tell you my real age, but there it is. And it says, hello, Anju Chawla, your age is 50. So name has gone into the name box, age 50 has gone into the age box. And then the hello, the last message is coming from here. System out println hello, comma, blank. The value of name is Anju Chawla, a period, blank. Your age is, and then I showed you the value of age. Now, why do I have an extra line here? Because I have an empty println here. That's why I have an extra line, because I wanted to start from a new line. So there's that extra line there. After, please input your name. That empty line is coming from println. Otherwise, I think it will work, because the next line will take me. I don't need it. It will work without that. But that extra line is due to that blue println empty. That's why it is coming. Remove it, you won't have it. So it was looking odd. Why is there a line? Because I have an extra line here. That's why. Remove it from here. Here, comment it out. Come back here. Try it again. Run it again. Okay, so what's your name? Anju. What's your age? 50. Yeah, Anju, your age is this. I didn't need the extra line. I mean, you could if you like to. You could have whatever you want. But when I looked at it, I said it's kind of looking odd, so I removed it. So it works. Now let's try not to run it properly. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it's asking me for my name. I'm giving a 123. Really doesn't matter. It will take the 123. It is asking for my age and I'm giving Anju. So 123 is okay. 123 is a valid string. It doesn't know that names cannot be 123. Like we know names cannot be 123, but the computer doesn't know the names. So you'll say then we can always tell it to validate a name. That name should consist of letters and blank and nothing else. That's also our job as a programmer, right? And we can do it. We can do it. But now when I say Anju, let's see what happens. The Anju is not a number, and I'm putting it in a number box called age. It blows up. I have a runtime error, exception. It's telling you, you may not be able to read it, but at the end of the day, at least you can recognize it is at line number 54 in greetings.java. So go to line number 54 in greetings.java, and there is where the problem is. And I can bet you that that line number is where you have assigned it. So here we can say, go to show search line number, go to 54. 54 it said. And there it is. Age is assigned, the value is the line where I'm getting a runtime error. Why am I getting a runtime error? Is Anju a number? No. So it blows up. And that's your exception. It's telling you, so that blows up. That's quite fatal error. I can go forward. So even if you had more, and I have a system out println and after it, which is I can go forward. You've done something and it's a runtime error and it's a fatal error. And then, so it dies, right? So logic errors can be this kind where it dies, or it can be of a kind that you have a wrong answer, something like just a wrong answer with some wrong calculations, which is not a fatal error, but it is an incorrect answer. That is also called a runtime. But this is a fatal runtime error. It can move forward. Okay, it is not able to move forward. Make sense? Okay, having said that, now very quickly I'll do it, but we'll come back to it. Now this is not bad. It's okay, but like it's kind of, oh, I have to write a literal, then I break it, plus. Then I write the name of the variable, then I break it, plus. And I keep doing this, plus, 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 plus. Can I make it easier to write? And yes, I can. I'll take the same thing that I have here and see what I'll do. And we'll do more of this next week. I'm going to kind of put a percentage S here. Hello, percentage S. You'll say, what's that now? We'll talk about it. Give me a minute. And I'll put a percentage D here. So everything I can write in double quotes till I want, okay? And then I'll write the names of my variables at the end. So I didn't have to do a pluses. I wrote everything in double quotes, whatever I wanted, using format specifiers. What are these format specifiers? Kind of think of it. These are format specifiers, placeholders. Percentage S says, fill in the blanks. Percentage S says I'll be replaced by name. Second percentage D says I'll be replaced by the second one, H. So it's like fill in the blanks. Replace the percentage S with name. Percentage S is a string format specifier. Percentage D is used for integers. So there will be something for float, something for double, something for long, something for short. There will be some format specifier for anything that you want to print. And what are the things you want to print? A string or a number, basically. Some floating number, yes, available. Everything is available. We'll do it next week. Okay, we don't have time right now. So here is a formatted output statement. Here is a formatted output statement. So what it is, it's like a fill in the blank. The first percentage S will be replaced by the first variable. The second percentage D will be replaced by the second variable. I have two fill in the blanks and I have two variables. The advantage, I write all of it together. Like I don't have to do pluses in between. Here you don't use a plus, you put a comma and then you just write all the variables in the correct order. Don't forget, the first percentage S should have a string, the percentage D should have a age. If there are two fill in the blanks, you should have two variables. There are three, you should have three. There is one, you should have one. It should match 1 to 1. Let's try. Before I let you go, for the last time, let's compile it. Let's clear the screen. We'll come back to this. Let's clear the screen. Let's compile it. Let's run it. Let's put my name. Let's put my age. I see the message twice, one with the println, one with the format. No difference between the two. It's just a different way of writing it. So at the end of the day, maybe you love the printf the most because it lets you print as you want it. But you'll say, but there is more you can do with printf. But that's one thing you can do. Yes, Ben?
Does it have to be a percentage S, percentage D, or can you put percentage A, percentage D just to...
Sorry, come again. So this has to be percentage S because name is a string.
Okay.
And this has to be a percentage D because age is a integer. So percentage S for strings and percentage D for integers. Percentage F for floats. So float, real numbers.
Okay.
Right? So D is kind of odd. Maybe I would have been better, integer, but percentage D is used. Maybe they have made you can look it up. Maybe there's a percentage I also. So format specifiers, all you'll say is you'll say format specifiers. Java. Formatting. So there is a tutorial here. It would be nice if they could, they're showing the format method. I see a percentage F. I see a percentage N also I should have told you. We'll come back. I'll come back to it. I'm looking for a percentage I. I don't think there is a I think percentage D is for integers. There's no percentage I. We'll get a syntax error if we try for sure. You can try that. And if you want this on different lines, just because I'm right here, if you want them on different lines, percentage N gives you a new line character. It goes to a new line. It goes to a new line. Yes.
So what if you had multiple strings that you're trying to write in there?
Then you will say percentages, 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 and as many strings. Yep. They're fill in the blanks. Right? So I've just added a percentage N in between just to show you that what is percentage N is new line. It will take you to new lines. It will say hello this and your age is this. I could have used \n. It works too, but percentage is portable. You can use percentage N in all operating systems and it is portable. Right? So printf prefers to use percentage N instead of \n. You cannot use percentage N in print and println. You can use it only in printf, but it is portable and therefore it is better to use. So just give it one last try. Sorry for that. Just give it one more compile to see that it has done it in different lines, which it will. We will come back to it again next week because I have to tell you a few things. Anju and 50, and there it is. Hello, Anju, your age is 50. Why is there a blank before the your? Because there is a blank before the your. That's why. It will exactly do what you tell it to do. We'll come back. I'll put this program on Blackboard for you so that you can download it and we'll add extra things to it next week before we move forward. Okay?